Hi, I'm Jasper Pattendon at Wycombe Wanderers, and you're listening to Wycombe Sound.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. Hopefully there'll be some breaking news again this week. I really enjoyed the breaking news last week.
Don't ask. It will come back if you ask for it. I'll find something.
There's a Black Beauty started.
Not yet.
Not a current reference, admittedly. Thanks so much for having us on. Lots to discuss this week. Of course, since we last spoke, a couple of things have happened. There was a family day at Adams Park. That was good, wasn't it?
Excellent.
John Gorman was there.
He's excellent.
And also, other people were there as well, with their families. Also, Rob Couhig was in attendance.
He was. He's always great.
He said, and I quote, I think you'll hear him say it a bit later on as well, he had 2.5 days where he didn't have anything on, so he came over.
Fair enough. He's a very busy man.
He is.
He's a very busy man.
We'll hear from
Hasn't
him.
started wearing, or does he? No, I don't think he was. He's not wearing his sort of cowboy hat yet.
Oh.
Don't know if the weather's not right for that yet.
Something to watch out for.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that.
Also coming up in the next hour, we'll hear from Phil. We've got our match briefing, looking ahead to the lengthy trip to Fleetwood, which is coming up.
Which is happening right now.
Yes.
Good evening if they're listening.
Yeah, special hello to the manager, who you suggested having us on in his car, didn't you?
They might be, yeah. They might be listening in the coach. They're on the way to Fleetwood now.
It's unlikely, though.
Well, you never know.
They'll be doing games.
Cards in the Wycombe Wanderers Show. What more do you want on a Thursday evening?
They'll be, name the 7 Davids that won the Premier League.
That's very true.
That'll probably be happening now. We'll hear from Phil, as I say, and get the thoughts of the manager after that hard-to-take result at Fratton Park on Tuesday. Perhaps you were there, or perhaps you're listening to the commentary on the evening as well. If you turned off after about 97 minutes, you all thought it had a point, but very disappointed with what the outcome was there. We'll get the thoughts of the manager after that game and also hear from him as well as we look ahead to the game on Saturday up at Fleetwood. Still not wholly sure where it is, but I know it's a long way away. We'll also catch up with Garath McCleary as well, who spoke to pre-match drills. We'll give you an excerpt of that. We'll speak to former striker Garry Thompson from his car. Ooh. There'll be a guest appearance from a lorry as well, with it doing a very interesting manoeuvre at the same time. Talking of strikers, someone who's changed from centre-back to centre-forward is Wycombe Wanderers women's Amy Leach. We'll hear from her on how she's coming to terms with her new position, and also reflect on the brilliant FA Cup win on Sunday as well against Ascot. Also, there's something else, isn't there? No, I think
that's it.
That's
You're
everything.
done. Well
Thank you. All that and no more to come in the next hour as well. But first, here's Phil with a reflection on, apart from anything, Tuesday night, and obviously, as we say, a difficult result to take.
Yeah, it's the worst way to lose a game of football. 98th minute obviously gives you incredibly small amount of time to try and get the leveller, but also so deflating after what had largely been a very positive performance. First half was classic Wycombe away, got the lead. Second half, I think we always knew that the tide would turn in terms of like the dominant areas. But looking at the key stats, in terms of shots on target and stuff, obviously Pompey had huge amounts of possession, but there wasn't really much in it in terms of shots on goal. I don't recall Max having to make a huge amount of saves at all across the 90 minutes. But you have to give credit to Pompey in terms of their spirit, because they were their sleeves rolled up the whole time for their manager, and you can see why they're top of the table. And equally, I can see why the goal was given as well. With all the benefits of the different angles and the slow-mo and the still photos, it looks to be a foul, a clear foul. But the referee doesn't get that in game speed. He was well positioned looking at the replay. But he gave the goal, and with 17,000 Pompey fans going crazy, it would have taken an incredibly strong referee not to give that. But there we are. But I'd rather that, to be honest, than VAR. I'm anti-VAR. So I just firmly believe as an optimist that we're going to get a bit of luck, and hopefully it starts Saturday. After the game, obviously it was a very, angry and dejected in the rawness of it. Matt Bloomfield, after the final whistle, we spoke to him in quite difficult circumstances.
Extreme heartbreak to concede in the manner that we did. We're very angry. I was so proud of the performance that the boys put in tonight. I felt like we still carried a threat, even in the second half, when maybe you expected Portsmouth to be in the ascendancy, and they were at times, but we saw that out. Really disappointed with the conceded goal at the end, and really frustrated for the supporters who come and give us their backing, for the players who put so much in, for the staff who prepare for games like that. But unfortunately, for the second away game in a row, the decisions are going against us, and it doesn't feel fair.
You feel that was an unjust goal in injury time?
Absolutely, it's a foul on the goalkeeper. The corner gets put in the box, Maxi goes to catch it, and it's a clear foul on him. The defender from the opposition jumps into him, takes his arm away so he can't catch the ball. doesn't make any contact with the ball. So it's just extremely frustrating. It's hard to put it into words. I'm angry, I'm disappointed, I'm frustrated, but I'm also proud of the players. For the second time in a row, we've gone to an away ground and put on a display. Maybe not as free-flowing as what we were at Charlton second half 2 weeks ago, but I'm extremely proud of what they're doing at the moment, and they should be proud of themselves.
It was a very different display from Adams Park on Saturday, but you knew that coming into this game, and so much to be proud of, especially in that second half performance.
Yeah, we challenged the boys before the game, and they've challenged themselves. We knew that we were coming up against a very good Portsmouth team, and we knew the respect we had to pay them. But we're confident in what we're building, and we're confident in the players we've got, and we're proud of what we've got in our changing room. We know we've got some good players in there. We know we've got a good team that's developing and a good squad. So we were looking forward to this game. We really wanted to come here and show our best selves, and to a degree I thought we did that at times tonight. We could have obviously been better in ourselves, and we have to look at that first and foremost. We can't hide behind just decisions, but when something so big and so unjust goes against you at the end, it's hard to see past that at this moment in time.
And 10 games in, able to announce an unchanged team as well from Saturday as well.
Yeah, I felt like it's always a tough one to balance out when you've got a busy 3-game week, but the way the players played on Saturday, especially in the first half against 11 men, we were really proud of what they did, and the cohesion between that group. We felt that they deserved to go again on a Tuesday night to build themselves into another performance. So it was nice to be able to do that 10 games in, and we'll have to look at the bodies, count the heads on before the weekend, see what knocks we've picked up, and make sure we pick ourselves up, because we've now got an opportunity to go to Fleetwood. We want to go and get some points. We have to take our medicine, as we always do, and make sure we move on very quickly.
Because is that just part of the game, really? As you say, the errors are going to be made, or interpretations of the rules might be slightly different.
Look, I mean, again, I'm not sure if I'm in the minority here, but I think if you try and eradicate human error out of anything, it's almost impossible. The Liverpool Tottenham game has proven that. Even with all the technology and all this systems in place, they've still mucked it up. I think sometimes, you've got to accept it that referees are going to make mistakes, or they might call it differently as to how you see it yourself. But that's the beauty of the game, I think. And I think over a season, it'll even itself out. And again, maybe I'm a hopeless optimist, but look, football is the most important of all the non-important things in life. It's what we all talk about, it's what we all love to do, and the injustice of it is part of the beauty of it, I'm afraid. It's a great metaphor for life, football, and I think we should probably be looking, as Matt said on the night, and as he said again today, it's about what they can do better, what they can control. That's all they need to worry about, and the non-controllables will look after themselves.
And these do feel like great talking points, don't they? If you feel if the game was too clinical, it would be a bit sort of almost dull.
Yes. I think maybe the Premier League will probably go down to the scientific nth degree, and maybe they'll take the beauty of it out. Which let's be self-indulgent here and think fantastic. Let them bore themselves to death, and they can all come down to League One and remember what the good old days were like.
So looking ahead to the trip to Fleetwood, emphasis I guess on the trip as well, due to the how far it is, and they've undergone some changes themselves recently. Yeah,
this seems to be a bit of a pattern for Wycombe. There's been 2 managerial changes in League One, but Charlton and at Fleetwood, and we're approaching these games with the new manager bounce full in tow. I think Lee Johnson's come in and picked up a draw and 2 wins, and they only I think had 1 point from their first 6 games before they fired Scott Brown. So momentum is in their favour. It's always a tough place to go with the wind up there as well. But I think Wycombe's performances on the road this season have been excellent. We've lost the last 2, and in different circumstances we could have quite easily taken a couple of points, or maybe even more, from those games. So we go up there in good spirits in terms of the manner of the performances. Had we been tonked at Charlton and Pompey, then it's obviously different. But like I say, the performances have been good. And Fleetwood, we've had some rare old battles up there down the years. We've got some good memories there as well. So I think it should be a good game. Lee Johnson's a decent manager. I think he's early 40s, but I think he's managed over 500 games in his career, which is fantastic for him. So he's going to have his head screwed on. He'll know what to expect on Saturday, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully it'll be a really good game and the conditions don't ruin it.
And we'll hear more from the manager later on in the show as well. Does it feel like, the result aside from Tuesday, that the team is still in really good form at the moment?
Yeah, I think so. In terms of the start that we made, it's been very well documented. So we don't have to mention that, but recent results have been really, really positive. Apart from the 2 away defeats, but around it's been interspersed with wins. So I think 9th in the table after 10 games is, I think, really positive. We've got a game in hand over many above us. We've got some tough running fixtures coming up, but I think we're well positioned at this stage of the season, and we're not alone in that. A lot of teams will be looking at this and thinking, right, this could be it. This could be our season to get in the top 6. But we've got the know-how of doing it. Matt's just clocked up a year in management, which I think is an important milestone, and we're seeing week on week the development and the improvements being made, and the style really coming to the surface. I think it's a really positive place to be. You had some great luck, if that's the right word, with co-commentators recently as well. Look, players getting injured is obviously bad news for the team on the pitch, but again, being selfish, I've been very fortunate. We've had Jason McCarthy's in the mix. He's very good on comms. Joe Jacobson's done a couple of games and has been excellent. He's for his first 2 games with us. Jack Grimmer's been very popular with the listeners. He's been excellent. And when Gareth McCleary was rotated out for the EFL Trophy game, he made his debut and was very good. So, albeit it's always, it's often bad news for a player that they're available for co-coms. But I have to thank Nick Freeman for this, really, because Nick was the first player in all my years of doing this to actually ask me and volunteered to do it when he had a long-term injury. And it kind of revolutionised his relationship with the fans, because he was quite a quiet guy, but became incredibly popular. I think a lot of the other players have seen that and thought, well, this is perhaps a good way of kind of spending match days, because all of the players who've done it have always said the same thing. It's really difficult to watch and not being able to affect what's going on the pitch, and the commentary is just a really good way to kind of keep busy during a match day and also contribute to the club as well, because the fans love it when the players are on. They give insight not just into what's going on the pitch, but just into life in general of being a footballer here at Wycombe Wanderers. So, which contributes to the club positively as well. So, and I enjoy it too. It's good to have someone who can see the game a lot differently to me. And really, another highlight when a Summariser's relative gets in touch during the game as well. Well, yeah, I can only encourage those to keep doing that, I hope Jack's settled into his new home. Obviously, he hasn't done too much of the heavy lifting, if any, of that on his move. But yeah, we love that, So if anyone's listening and has got any gold on our co-coms, then don't be shy. I will include it. Thank you very much. Enjoy the trip on Saturday. I certainly will. Great to have Phil on the show. Of course, as always, you can hear more from him next week. Really great next time Jack Grimmer features in summarising as well alongside him. It'll be fantastic to hear how he's getting on with his moving. Apparently lots of boxes, but going well. That does happen with moving. It does, yeah. Apparently moving house is the most stressful thing you can do. I've not done it, so I can't comment. No comments. No further comments, Your Honour. Great interview. No comment. Just a reminder as well, you can hear the full chat with Matt Bloomfield on Wanderers TV as well, and Phil will be commentating, of course, from Fleetwood, which is a long way away, and also, of course, is the home of Fisherman's Friend, we learnt today, and also Sid Little has a pub there. Both. Has had a pub there. Yes. That was Phil speaking to us earlier today at the training ground, speaking to us earlier this week, Saturday to be precise, at the Family Fun Day. Owner and Chairman Rob Couhig caught up with Rob outside the grounds to talk about a number of things, including the latest from his relationship with the Trust. I see my friend Nigel Kingston is here. He represents and works for the Trust, well, is the Trust in many ways. He and I have been working on a plan that ultimately will create a very good succession in terms of ownership, opportunities for more investment in the club, make the club more self-sustaining in the long run. And there were a few little dots and dashes I wanted to put on. Plus, I love watching the team live. I watched him on TV last week. Phil let me down. He should have stormed the field when it was 2-1, and he didn't. It must be frustrating watching it from Louisiana when you're not here, though, right? It is. It's a different thing to come over. It's a different thing. Well, look at it. When you go out here, and look, and most people don't know this about me. I wasn't a soccer fan or football fan before we bought the club. Yeah. To this day, the only games I've ever seen are teams I own. Well, there you go. Literally. There you go.
but I'm an event guy. I love events. And
Yes.
this is an event
Well, we
for
need to talk
parents
about-
and kids and stuff like that.
I mean, we did this last year. This year, I think you've got at least double the amount of people. And what you didn't, I don't know how early you got down here today. Last year, it started to get busy around 2.
Right.
11, they were here from 12 today. It was really busy. This is a great family day, isn't
Well,
it?
and they added some real attractions with the easy chairs or the lawn chairs and the surfing.
Have you been on the surf thing yet? Have you had a go?
I'm on an artificial hip, brother. What are you trying to do to me?
We could have another one if you want. That's fine. We'll get a pair of them. It's going to be fine. So you were saying that you and the trust, you're doing some exciting stuff for the club. What can we expect? What's new? Because you always give us something when you come here. We always manage to squeeze something out.
I think I don't know if anybody would call it exciting, except Nigel and I. We no longer have to battle each other every day.
That's a good thing, right?
And we are united in a ability to go forward with sustained capitalization of the club, get some of our major objectives in terms of build out of the stands and the like, make sure that Matt's got the people he needs to play with, that we continue. What we're proudest of is when you look at our exposure to this club since we came in June of 2019, it's been the greatest 5-year period in the club's history in terms of where it ranks in the leagues, and so we want to continue that.
I mean, you look around here today, you must be proud of this, Rob.
I am. Look, but I give all the credit to where it's due. I think Neil and his staff do a great job, the young people on the staff. What makes the place different, though, is I'm walking around and I see Jacobson and Grimmer, who aren't playing today.
Yeah.
And they don't have to do this, but they're wandering around, they're signing autographs, they're being nice to the clients, or excuse me, the fan base, and they're really part of it.
Yeah.
And you look at all of the players. I spent a lot of time yesterday. Yesterday was Friday. Yesterday at the training grounds, and to a person. And this is what I've dealt with professional athletes my whole adult life. This is the nicest, most adult group of people I've ever met.
Yeah. And it feels it as well. I mean, there is something very special.
Yep.
There is something very special. It's very hard to bottle it. I don't think you can't just build a culture, but there is something here which is just quite magical, really.
It's little things. When you walk in, and it's not because I'm the owner, because I watch when other people look you in the eye, they shake your hand, they thank you for coming, they ask you how you're doing, not like how you're doing. It's like, how are things really going for you?
Yeah, they really care.
And they care, and they're like that with each other.
Yeah.
And you can pick up on it. And look, to be candid, this year is different than any other year for the players because there's much more internal competition. There's only 11 people get on that pitch at any one time. There's only 16 of them who really are on the squad for every week. And you understand that. And you can see some of them, they're all happy for each other.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. We were saying last week, actually, lots of changes this year. We've got new faces. It feels like it's Matt's team now, and it's like that's largely through the investment, through the support that you've given as well. But actually, it really feels like we've moved on. Things are I mean, we didn't have such a good Saturday last week. You always get an up and down, but we had a good run before that. It feels like it's coming together. Do you see it like that as well?
Yeah, very much. Matt has grown infinitely. I'm not surprised because when Pete and I set on this course about this time last year when we forced him to go to Colchester, whining and crying, I don't want to leave, Rob hates me. No, you got to go. But we knew that he had the potential, and he has surpassed everything. You know what it is? He's a guy with a great deal of personal discipline.
Yeah.
He really approaches it like a job. He knows how to get the guys the most out of them, but he can be pretty cold.
Yeah.
He'll look over and say, Luke doesn't make the cut.
But he's personally invested in the club as well. I mean, his background is personal investment, right? He's got Wycombe Wanderers running through his veins.
He really does.
What a good show. I mean, actually, when we heard that Matt was coming back, we went, oh, that's a genius decision, right? Yeah. No, it feels like from a fan's perspective, and from where we are, it feels like it's really going in the right direction.
It really
this
is.
season, yeah.
And it wouldn't be me appearing without telling you how much Wycombe Sound means to us. This new show that Phil's doing on Tuesday nights, I think, is going to take off. It was great this week. I think in Luke Leahy, you found another guy like me, a little shy, but willing to come on.
Couple of Lukes mentioned there.
I would like to apologise to Rob Couhig for completely ignoring his comment about me. I was busily wondering where to film next. Sorry, Rob.
He was concerned you wouldn't make the cut.
Well, yeah. I can't tell you what what the welcome I got from him on Thursday was.
All right.
It's not 9 o'clock yet. But it was very funny.
Nice. Perhaps make the cut meant as sort of in your editing work.
Possibly. He's done very well and I missed all of it. Sorry, Rob.
I know the feeling. More on the Wycombe Wanderers Show here at Wycombe Sound.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Bill Turnbull, a broadcasting legend whose tireless campaigning for prostate cancer awareness left a lasting legacy for men's health in the UK. Bill's message was clear.
I really want you and your loved ones to take this simple online risk check now.
Let's honour Bill's legacy together. Let's get men across the UK to check their risk. Let's broadcast it like Bill. Check your risk. Share the risk checker. Save lives.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show, Thursdays from 7.
106.6 FM, Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on this week's edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show, Wycombe Wanderers women's former centre-back and now centre-forward Amy Leach, Garath McCleary, who I don't think's changed position, and Matt Bloomfield, who's changed position from player to captain to coach and now manager. It's a different position. More on that coming up between now and the end of the show. But first, with big thanks to the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, we've been speaking to someone who Tottenham have been in the news this week. That dates rather badly as a podcasting. But someone who scored against Spurs and is very well known for it. It's a goal I've seen recently again. Garry Thompson, who now is up in Kendal and has been reflecting on, among other things, his first ever move to the south after playing for many clubs in the north prior to arriving at Adams Park.
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of something, obviously, in the dark about it, really. I'd moved from the Lake District over to the kind of Leeds area when I moved to Scunthorpe and latterly when I played at Bradford and then at Notts County. So, yeah, it was a decision I made. It was purely a football-based one. I knew Paul Hayes from a time at Scunthorpe, and I just thought, why not? Why not go and give it a go? I was offered a 2-year contract. Probably wouldn't have made the move if it was only a 1-year contract, but after I'd met the manager Garath and spoke to Paul, and I knew it was a kind of no-brainer really, and why not go and experience it for a couple of years? It was only a couple of years, so I might as well go and experience it and then go and live my life down there for a couple of years. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the area where I lived, which was over towards sort of Brentwood area, towards where Paul lived. But spent quite a lot of time in Wycombe where I lived some of the time with Sam Wood. So yeah, just enjoyed the area and loved the different kind of culture, and yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it.
So what were your first impressions of your time at the club?
First impressions, yeah, I mean, obviously it was a club that was on the change and wanted to have a real good go, and I had a really good season prior to signing with Notts County. I mean, personally, it was a good season. I scored a few goals, and they said that they needed the striker to come in the building with a bit of experience, and my role wasn't just going to be on the pitch; it was off the pitch, helping the young players come through. So, I'd always had one eye on the coaching side of football as well. So, I felt like it was a perfect opportunity for me to come and, forge myself on that side of it, the coaching side of it as well, and kind of help the younger lads who were coming through. And yeah, it was something I jumped at the chance when I got that opportunity.
Was that something that's almost as rewarding as scoring goals, really, to help others develop and perhaps obviously people in your own position as well?
Yeah, well, obviously being in 34 was more experienced, and I could help. The likes of, when you look at the likes of Aaron Holloway and Pierre and Anthony and all them kind of lads coming through. And what the manager did was he had the kind of generals in the changing rooms, which was myself, Paul Hayes, Blooms, JJ, Woody. We kind of oversee the change rooms a little bit. So you'd have a couple of boys that you would look after. Mine being that kind of Luke 09 and people like that who were coming through. So it was just more of a guidance thing more than anything else. You know, if people are in a bad game or, you know, a bad time, just kind of put your arm around them and, you know, tell them it wasn't too bad. And, you know, that was kind of the life of a footballer. You have a few highs and a lot of lows, so you need to be able to manage yourself to get through those low points. So yeah, I really enjoyed that time, and it's helped me forge myself as a coach now moving forward.
And some of those senior members of the squad that you mentioned, that they're people that you're still in touch with today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know, I congratulated Blooms obviously when he got the job. He came up here with his Colchester team when he was there, and I helped set up. He trained at our training facility where I run my academy, so I managed to sort all out for him as well, which was good. So it was nice to catch up with him and keep in contact with Woody and JJ and Hazy. So yeah, it's nice to keep in contact and see what them guys are doing now. They've, you know, especially Hazy, he's kind of finished, but JJ and Woody are moving to sort of the latter stages of their career. So yeah, it's nice to keep in touch and again have regular chats with them boys.
And really nice to reflect with you on that Spurs game, and obviously the goal. That must be something that's still fresh in your memory.
Yeah, well now I can say now I've gone into the coaching side of it. We have a lot of kids who are Tottenham fans, and they come to us and come to me and say, "Oh, I've seen your goal on YouTube and stuff." And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's nice to have a standout moment, and it's nice to have something that, you know, the Wycombe fans can look back on and remember my time. I'd hate to feel that, you know, when I left any club there wasn't I'd like to have a standout moment when I was at that club that the fans can look back on and feel proud of, and you know, none more so than that goal for me. And when I look back, you know, friends and family still go on about it now, although I do bring it up every now and then. So it's nice just to look back and have fond memories of that time.
It's nice to watch the goal again as well. It's a great feeling, and it must be a great feeling for yourself, obviously, but you do make it look very easy.
I didn't make it look easy, or I did. You cut out a little bit then. It must have been. I mean, to be honest with you, it was all about just trying to get on the end of what was a great bit of play by Miles on the left wing. But I think it kind of showed the mentality of us, because from, you know, recollection, there's Luke O'Nien trying to get in the box, there's Sam Saunders trying to get in the box, and you know, we're kind of like, although we were 2-0 up and we've been pegged back, we were kind of the opinion of like, why not? You know, why not try and win the game? And Westy done everything for me really. It's just trying to get a good contact on it, and luckily for me, I managed to do that, and it went in the back of the net. And then you have a mad 30 seconds where you celebrate, and I wanted to celebrate in front of the Wycombe fans who've made the journey. And yeah, it was just a great time. Unfortunately, we went on to lose the game, but in terms of you know, giving the fans something to celebrate at that moment was something special, and something I look back on with, you know, really good fond memories.
And a really great example, as you touched on the sort of generals in the dressing room, and it really felt like, you know, Garath was building something special at that time with the culture at the club. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, he had his stamp on it, and he was very much a really good man manager in terms of he wanted the club, you know, the players to buy into the whole club. You know, it wasn't just about the football side of it. It was, you know, being an element of the, you know, being part of the fans. You know, wanted to make like it was a real family. I'd never been at a club like that. Yeah, I've been in good changing rooms, but never ones where, you know, we dedicated so much time to off the field things. You know, like building strong relationships off the pitch, which helped forge good relationships on the pitch, I suppose. And you know, and it was really good. And he's obviously gone on and onto QPR, but I know the club, you know, went through a spell. They got promoted, and from where the club was when he kind of took over to where he's left them, I think it's in a miles better place, and probably no better manager to take over than Blooms, because he bought into that as well, and he'll be putting his own marker down as I'm sure he is doing, and just carrying on them great things that Garath and Dobbo put in place.
It really shows what a special club is that there is there, because, you know, Joe Jacobson obviously is the kind of longest serving current player there. Matt Bloomfield was obviously there such a long time, and as captain and coach, and now, as you say, manager as well. And you could probably see that at the time as well in that dressing room with them.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely, you know, I'd like to say a family orientated club, in terms of, you know, it wasn't just about, like I say, we had such a good connection with the fans, you know, with ourselves. And like I say, off the pitch things that we did, the team building things we've done. I've done them probably in pre-season before, but never like throughout the season, we went to France and all them kind of things, but we carried it on and it was really, really good, and I think it did help. It absolutely did help, and like the young lads coming into the changing rooms and all that kind of stuff, it can be a little bit nervous, and you want to try and make them feel as relaxed as you can. And I'm sure Blooms is carried on that trend in his own managerial style, because I know if I ever go on and lucky enough to become a manager, I know it's something that I'll take forward with me.
And fans will be interested to know what you're doing these days. Like you mentioned your academy, it must be great, working with youngsters, and you're still playing as well.
I am still playing, yeah. I'm not as quick as what I used to be, unfortunately, but I've kind of changed roles a little bit now. Yeah, I play as a centre half, believe it or not, for our local team with Corinthians. My friend and my business partner Sean, who I've got my academy with, we took over the running of the club last year. And it was more out of necessity, really, because we didn't have enough players, so I just kind of took up the role. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's given me a fresh impetus to want to play and kind of get through all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I still enjoy it now. Sorry, I'm just having to reverse. I just pulled up. There's a lorry behind me, so I'm gonna have to move. So it's kind of given me an opportunity to keep fit. Build myself up for the weekend, which is what it used to be like. I've not played for 4 years up until sort of last year. So from that side of view, it gives me that kind of football fix again. But yeah, like you alluded to before, I've got my academy now, which is just turned 5 years old, which is based out of Kendal, out of the Kendal Rugby Club. We've got a great facility there that we use. And we're going from strength to strength, trying to give young kids opportunities. And we've started our own ladies team as well, which is doing really well in their division that they're playing in at the moment. And hopefully next year we'll be able to play in the Ladies FA Cup, which will be a great achievement for us, great achievement by them as a group to get promoted in our second season. And we won a little bit of silverware as well, which is as an owner is great to have. But the focus to begin with was just about the kids and getting the kids opportunities at the local academies, and kind of giving them that academy style football whilst learning with the grassroots team. And yeah, we've just grown and grown and grown, and yeah, absolutely love it. Couldn't think of anything better to be doing. So yeah, it's really, really good.
Does that feel really kind of natural part of your process, because you've had to go, develop your career, and now you're kind of giving back, if you like, as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think when it's all you've kind of known. I've played football for a long time, since I was from a boy into a man. But when you get into kind of the professional environment at sort of 18, 19, it becomes everything that you know, and then you kind of just learn off different managers, and you kind of take little facets of everybody. And I just know that I played my best football when I was confident, when I was happy, and I played with a smile on my face, and that's what we try to do with our coaching. We always try to have an element of fun mixed in with the learning aspect, and yeah, I mean it kind of shows in how much we've grown. We've got about 450 kids that come now, and like I said before, we've got our ladies team, and we do soccer schools, and I do some one-to-one training as well. So yeah, it's just a natural progression for me, really, to move into that, and something I feel comfortable with, and I'd like to think I'm quite good at. So. I absolutely love it.
And talking of developing youngsters, I understand you're a family that keeps you busy as well.
Yes, I'm expecting my first baby at Christmas, which will keep me on my toes, I'm sure. But yeah, really excited and looking forward to that. That baby's due on the 18th of December. And then my girlfriend will then hopefully go back into playing football. She's the captain of our ladies team. So. She's a little bit unhappy at the moment that she can't play, but obviously for good reasons. So I'm sure once the baby comes, then she'll be able to get herself back playing again. So yeah, looking forward to that, and hopefully goes on and wants to be a footballer. I don't know the sex of the baby yet, but whether it's a boy or girl, I know obviously the girls' football is so big at the moment. I'm hoping that she, if it's a boy or a girl, they like the football and they get into it, and they go on to have as many memories and good memories as what I did when I played.
Well, sounds fantastic. Wish you all the luck with your new son/daughter, and great to chat to you. And thank you so much indeed for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Colin. Take care.
Pleasure to speak to Garry Thompson in his car. You've probably worked that out already. Somewhere in Kendal, Tune in next week to find out how the lorry was doing that's behind him. Now we swiftly move our attention to Wycombe Wanderers women. They had a fantastic win against Ascot in the Women's FA Cup on Sunday. Have been drawn against Dartford in the next round. Been speaking to Amy Leach, who, when we spoke to her in a previous season, was a centre-back. Now is a centre-forward. Here's how it came about. She's having a good season so far.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's going great, thank you. I scored in the first 2 games. I've been assisting the goals in other games. But at the start, I had to be open-minded, and it felt uncomfortable at first, as you can imagine, going from centre-back to centre-forward. You know, you lack that comfortable feeling you get when you line up in your usual spot. It requires a lot of adjustment, not always visually and technically, but sometimes physically and always mentally. It just felt strange at first because my brain had very limited mental maps of this new position, and I, not only had to think harder, but work a lot harder too.
So did you always imagine you'd be a defender?
Wow, yeah. I had to expand my identity massively. You know, you get tunnel vision of who I thought I was as a player, like saying to myself, I'm a centre-back, but I had to stop limiting myself. Playing in a different position effectively starts from believing that you can do it, you know. And at first, laying into the new position, it hurt quite a bit, but I just had to trust what Carl was doing and trust the process and what he visioned. And whilst he couldn't just sprinkle magic dust on me and make everything all right, and okay, straight away I had to just keep working hard in pre-season.
Because a lot, in the modern game, I guess, a lot of defenders, they go forward a lot more, don't they? But I guess you couldn't have imagined as a centre-back you'd be switching to be a centre-forward.
No, of course not. Yeah, like you say, like sometimes you push on and it's great, but you're always having to get back, and it's different to always staying in one side of the pitch more than often. But I just had to also be prepared to get it wrong. You know, like when you play in a new position, you're likely to make mistakes, and that has to be okay. But I've always been my worst critique as well. So at the start of the change, when I went on the pitch, whether that be at training or a match day, I had to tell myself, you know, it's okay to make a mistake. I don't know this position that well, so it may take a couple of incorrect decisions. But being decisive is the most important thing. So I then saw the change of position as a challenge. So I gave myself a chance to play in a more relaxed and confident manner rather than a tense and tight player. I just had to keep reminding myself of that, really, and that this was the first season of being a centre-forward. But I love it, and I couldn't see myself anywhere else now. It's strange to think that at the start of the season I was slightly angry at Carl, I'll be honest. But I think he saw this happening a long time before it actually happened. He just needed someone to slot into my position at the back before he could make the change. And now the girls are so solid at the back, and the whole dynamic of the team has changed for the better.
It sounds like something you've really taken to as well.
Yeah, I've really taken to it. I love it now. It's funny because me and Carl joke about it now, and I always say to him after, like, I have a good performance, "You're right, Carl, after all."
And definitely, I know when we spoke to you before as well, you'd scored goals before and some quite good ones as well. But that had never sort of crossed your mind that you think, oh, perhaps I should be more up front.
It's really strange you say that because, like, ever since I started playing football since I was 10 years old, I've always loved to be up the pitch, and one of my biggest attributes to football is my pace and my strength, and I just loved, like, going with the ball. But no, I don't know. It's just never really crossed my mind to be more up the pitch, I suppose.
And do you find it gives you a bit more kind of freedom as well, and the sort of chances you're creating as well?
Yeah, it sounds quite daft, but it does. I feel a lot more free because, like you said, you can, like, try and explore new things. Like, it being in defence, if you tried that, you know, you can concede a goal. But being at the top, I know I've got, like, my other teammates behind me, if that makes sense, so I can trust in them. But if I want to try and explore new things, then I feel like you're not in as much danger.
And does it feel as well, perhaps you've got a bit more responsibility too?
Yeah, I mean, I was speaking to Katie Riddington, who plays alongside me. We have a great partnership. And she was saying, Amy, it really frustrates me. You know when people say at the start of the game to you, come on, Katie, 2 goals today or a goal today? She's like, it actually is, like, quite daunting. Not daunting, but a lot of pressure. And she was saying to me, it's so much pressure when people say that. I wish I just said nothing and then I scored.
It does, because I think especially it's a position where you might kind of, you know, set yourself targets as to how many goals you'd like in a season, especially from that position, as I say.
Yeah, of course. I mean, well, it would be great to try and score every single game, but I've set myself a goal now. If I at least get a goal or an assist every game, then, I mean, that's massive. But considering, like I said, it's my first season in that position, obviously we had pre-season. Pre-season was going great with the girls, and also welcoming our new signings who are amazing.
Does it feel like everyone's really settled in now and you're kind of really gelling as a group?
Yeah, it does. However, the season didn't start great for us with a 4-1 loss to Ascot. Then we drew our next 2 games against Oxford City and Warminster, to then beat Winchester 2-0 and our incredible win Sunday against Ascot in the FA Cup with another win. I feel like that automatically moulds us more into a team. You know, the tightness and the just the overall feel of the team. It's amazing.
As you say, that must have been such a great feeling to win in that cup game against the team who you'd already lost to in the league.
Oh yeah, I mean, what a feeling Sunday was. It was amazing to finally find our feet as a solid team, having our full squad and working so hard for each other. Last season was tough on everyone, but with the support of all the girls and the coaching team and Carl, it feels like we've turned a new leaf, not just as a team but as a club, and it feels special. Like the hard work's paying off, and I can't wait to see what magic we can create for the rest of the season.
It sounds like you're really enjoying your new position as well, and I guess it won't be too long before you don't really think of it as your new position either.
No, it's strange, isn't it? Because I have to think to myself sometimes because I'm I get so excited. I feel like being a striker on a Sunday before your match, like in the changing rooms after the warm up, when you have your mental talk and you can really get in the zone. I feel like being a striker is more exciting to play. I can't explain it, but yeah, it's very much. I don't know, you get this exhilarating feeling. Whereas when I was a defender, I suppose it's more like you're more uptight. Like I said before, I feel more free. So now every Sunday it's more of an exciting feeling.
I think as well what's really nice, and you probably won't sort of think of it perhaps like this way yourself, or even as it is you, but I think especially if young girls are watching and they see that here's someone who used to be a defender and is now a striker, they think, oh, perhaps I could do that as well.
No, yeah, of course. That's amazing. When you're going back to talking about the young girls, we had a family day last Saturday, and it was amazing. This young girl and her dad was there, and they was asking about our fixtures and things, and she came along on Sunday when we beat Ascot in the FA Cup, and it was amazing to see her there and, just getting involved in the family day, and then obviously us girls being there, and then she turned up to our game with her dad, and it was amazing. It was so nice.
Is that something you've noticed, a real increase in the level of support? And I know you've had sort of brownies come and watch you play and train, and the increase in support at home games as well.
Yeah, 100%. It's increased massively, as everyone's aware, especially from the Euros, the women winning that and doing amazingly in the World Cup. I feel like everyone's just so much more like the sport has brought women closer together in every way. And the brownies, bless them, coming to our training. They was asking us questions. That was being interviewed and we was famous. It was amazing. Bless them. But no, yeah, it's great. It's just great. And I mean, you can only go high now, can't it?
It must feel great for you personally, and obviously the rest of the team as well, though, to be sort of doing it at this time as well, on a sort of wave, if you like.
Yes, it's the most perfect time, I think. It's amazing. I mean, I'm speechless because when I was younger, it's just so different, and I can't believe it's like here, and I'm here, and seeing the growth in women's football is just amazing.
And you must feel that the team is in really good form at the moment, especially going into this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, the team is in very high spirits. Training, we've got training tonight, training Tuesday. Everyone was just still buzzing, and yeah. And the hard work's finally paying off.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound. Tuesday evenings from 7.
Hello, Phil here from Wycombe Wanderers, host of Ringing the Blues, which you can listen to right here on Wycombe Sound every Tuesday from 7 till 8. We'll have all the action from the game at the weekend, plus a whole host of players and guests associated with the club, plus our weekly feature, Till Death Us Do Part, where Wycombe fans remember their favourite memories. Only on Wycombe Sound, 7 till 8. Actually, scrap that. This week we're on at 6 because of the EFL Trophy early kick-off at 7 p.m.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show, Thursdays from 7.
106.6 FM, Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on this week's edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll hear from the manager, Matt Bloomfield. But first, speaking to pre-match drills and Phil, Garath McCleary with his shirt on.
I could have been a bit better in certain scenarios, but it's been alright. I've played the last few games and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying playing at the moment, and take out the loss on Tuesday. But apart from that, yeah, I'm enjoying it.
How do you keep doing it? Because we see the stats boards down in the gym. You're always near the top of those for pace, etc. like that. How do you keep doing it?
Do you know what? I can't put my finger on it. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know. I keep myself in good shape in terms of due diligence in the gym, diet's good, and the only other thing I can put it down to is genetics. So I will just say it's that, to be honest.
Well, any tips, mate? I'm all ears. Yeah, I think those days are gone for me. He did have a game off for the EFL Trophy, which meant he joined us up on the gantry. What was it like watching the game from up there?
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed. It's something that I do want to look at going into in the future. You made it a lot easier for me as well. Good company, but. Yeah, we played well against Palace. They had some standout performers. I think they had a performer that obviously played in their next game against United, and I spoke to you about it as well. So
yeah, you picked him out. You've obviously got an eye for these things.
Yeah, I could see he had some potential. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it, and I'm glad we got the win.
Wycombe now looking at a run of games away from home, so there's going to be a lot of travelling. What do you reckon we got coming up? Fleetwood is a long trip, difficult place to go. Then week off, I think, in terms of the league, away trip in the Football League Trophy, but then it's Peterborough, Oxford. These are tough places to go. Yeah,
we've got some very tough games. Fleetwood have picked up results recently, so we know it's going to be a tough game. It's a long old journey as well, but we know everyone has to make these trips, and you have to switch on a Saturday and try and get that result. And in regards to Peterborough and Oxford, they're teams that are challenging at the top of the league. And we know it's going to be tough, but yeah, we've had these games so many times last season before, when we've done reasonably well in the league, and we know what to expect, and we're going into every game hoping to win.
We asked the gaffer this earlier on, 10 games in, what do you make of League One? It's very different to last season, isn't it? It seems to be a lot more compact.
Yeah, it is a lot more compact, but ever since I've been in League One, you can see that teams at the bottom can obviously cause an upset and beat the teams at the top, so you always got to be wary of that. There are a lot more teams that are contending, so yes, it is tougher in terms of a lot more teams can potentially get into those playoff spaces or the automatic spots, but yeah, you always got to believe that you can be one of those teams that push promotion, and that's my aim anyway. That's definitely something that I want to do, and I think us as a team, we should be vying for.
We had it with Charlton when they fired their manager, and we saw the new guy come in, Michael Appleton. We've now got this again with Fleetwood, with Lee Johnson replacing Scott Brown, who was fired. Throughout your career, have you ever experienced as a player a manager being fired? And if so, what does the changes happen in that team? Because we tend to call it the new manager bounce. Have you ever had to experience that?
New manager bounce is right. Yeah, that's what we call it as well. You always do see it. It's a reaction. They obviously want to impress the players as well, because they know that it's a new manager, so potentially there could be a slate wiped in terms of if you weren't playing and now you're back involved. So we know it's going to be tough. He's a good manager. I've played against his teams previously, and we know it's going to be a tough game, but as long as we look after ourselves and focus on ourselves, I think we should be looking to get a win.
Don't forget you can hear more from Garath McCleary speaking to Phil on Wanderers TV. Let's catch up with the manager now, though, and look ahead to the game. But first, his reflections on Tuesday night's defeat, especially in the manner of that loss.
I'm still proud of the way we performed, still proud of what we're building, still pleased with many aspects of our play. I actually thought we could have done better in a few situations, but yeah, really pleased. Just obviously still a little bit sore from the way the game was taken away from us at the end. It should have been a very well-earned point, a very well-respected point. From listening to their management team after the game, they knew that they were in, the end of the game, we actually came into the ascendancy, and they said as such. So we knew we were in a good point and a good spot. A point would have been very well deserved, and for it to be taken away in the manner which it did, still was fairly raw. But we have to move on quickly because we have a really important game coming up this weekend at Fleetwood.
Is that what's especially pleasing? Because I know you spoke in your post-match comments about, as you say, the performance itself, and following on from the Charlton game as well.
Yeah, it's just, I had to make a call yesterday to the PGMOL, because I'm really disappointed about how the last 2 away games have gone for us in terms of, should have had 2 penalties at Charlton, the 2 offside decisions that were given against us that weren't offside that would have resulted in a 1v1, then the most blatant foul of the other night in the middle of the 6-yard box on Max that was not given. It doesn't seem right, but there's lots of officials' decisions being under scrutiny at the moment. They're only human. I understand that. We're all only human. We all make plenty of mistakes in our lives. So it's just unfortunate when, in football terms, that it's resulting in points being taken away from us. But we have to concentrate on the performances of which we have recently, and we've been pleased with many aspects. For us as a football club and as a management team, as a squad and as a club to move forward, we have to concentrate on that, because I do feel like there is some hopeful moments of what we're trying to our identity coming through. We've had some good results recently, and we want to make sure we keep building on that.
And do you get much feedback as a manager from officials? Do they say to you, our decisions are all fine, or do they say, oh yes, this is why this has happened? Or
I think it depends on the individual. I guess with anything in life, there's some individuals who are willing to be more open, and some who aren't. I think in the main, I don't want to be a ref hater. I think that they do an amazing job. It's not easy to look at so many. I feel like they've been under extra scrutiny this year because suddenly there was loads of extra rules thrown at them at the beginning of the season 2 weeks to go. Suddenly had loads more to think about. We had loads of extra time, injury time at the start of the season, and then that wasn't there for a couple of weeks. Then the other night we had another 8 added on, ironically for most of it for an injury on Josh Scowen that should have resulted in a red card that they also unfortunately missed. So there's a lot put on the refs and the officials, especially now. There's so many added extra rules and extra things for them to think about. They spend so long thinking about whether there's 1 or 2 stood up in the dugout, and unfortunately there's some big decisions on the pitch being missed.
And going back to the actual performance, do you kind of approach away games differently, perhaps now as a manager, or even when you play? Do you go into away games thinking, we need to do this slightly differently as if we're at home?
Yeah, I guess every game's taken on its merit. Playing Fleetwood a few weeks ago would have been a different proposition to now, because they've just hit some good form and new manager, and so that dynamic changes. So every game has to be taken on its individual merit. I think what we've done, even those 2 away performances recently, even though we've lost them both, is we've really imprinted ourselves on the game. Maybe less so the other night at Portsmouth, but certainly at Charlton we were able to do it. There were some elements of the game on Tuesday night we were pleased with, elements that we want to get better at, and we'll be working on that today and tomorrow. I guess it's probably taking every game on merit. We know Fleetwood have got some real good players. They've accumulated a good squad. They've now got a manager who knows the level well. Scott Brown did a good job there, and unfortunately lost his job. And now Lee Johnson's come in, a manager who's been around for a number of years now. He knows the level really, really well. So it's going to be a tough game for us. We have to make sure we're ready to go.
And if you had to do extra sort of this week to actually sort of lift the team as the way that you came away with nothing on Tuesday,
I think the boys are in a good spot. I don't think it's about any one individual. I don't like it when I'm the manager and it's my responsibility. But I feel like as a group, it's our group responsibility to pick each other up. But after the game, we knew we deserved more than what we got. Same as Charlton. So if there's anyone who needs picking up, we'll certainly do that, and I'll certainly do that. But as a group, I think the boys know that the identity is improving all the time. I think they know that as a group they're getting stronger all the time. It doesn't. I've had a lot of feedback, a lot of messages off both Charlton and Tuesday night about the performances, and obviously, as I've said a number of times, I'm going to get judged on results, and ultimately we need to pick up points. But whilst we're still in the early stage of this team, becoming a group and a real strong group, we feel like we're making strides forward, and there's going to be games where you play well and maybe don't get the result, but ultimately we want to win as many games as we can and pick up points sooner rather than later.
And despite the defeat, in a strange way, does it still feel like you're in a good run of form?
Yeah, because as we just said, we should be 8 unbeaten. At Charlton, 2 penalties and offsides that should have resulted in more than it did, and the performance suggested it should have done. And Portsmouth the other night, we've spoken about that, and I've been told that it was a wrong decision. So I don't think we're going to get a replay, as managers are suggesting at the moment, but it is what it is. We have to keep a smile on our face and understand that we're making steps forward. I'm really proud of the way the boys are playing at the moment, and we have to retain that hunger and desire to keep improving. And we've got to make sure, it's a busy week. The trip to Portsmouth, interrupted sleep, long trip north. There's lots that goes into a week like this, and we have to make sure that come 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon we're firing.
And 10 games into the League One season, if you look at the league table, or perhaps you don't, but does it feel like teams are starting to sort of settle as to where they are?
Yeah, I think that, obviously in football, money speaks, and I think you're seeing that the teams at the top of the league are the ones with the biggest budgets, and the ones down the bottom are the ones with not so big budgets, and the ones in the middle are all fighting it out. And I think that's the way the league looks already. And I think history would suggest that that's usually a fairly good indicator. So we have to concentrate on ourselves. We are proud of the squad we built in the summer. We're proud of the way the boys are going about their work, and we have to make sure that we have our eyes firmly fixed on ourselves and our improvements, because whilst there has been some steps forwards, we certainly believe there's plenty more to come from this group, and we're really pleased to be at the front and driving it forward, and we're proud of what they're doing so far. But we have to be, like I say, just have that real steely determination to keep improving, because every game of football is really tough. We know we're in for a tough afternoon on Saturday, and we have to be at our best if we want to come away with anything.
Fantastic to chat to the manager, and obviously wish the team all the best on Saturday away at Fleetwood.
Good luck!
And then after that, Stevenage.
It is. Good luck for that as well.
Yes, early kick-off.
Ring the Blues from 6, not 7. Don't get confused.
Tune in early or miss it. And then back here with us, looking ahead to a game the following week, which is none.
Same time. Toby Large on commentary on Saturday. On Tuesday, it's Brian Jeeves.
Ooh. Sorry.
Come on, you Blues.
Thank you very much for listening.